A lot of ground has been covered about the devastating fire at Luton Airport, which obviously completely destroyed their number 2 terminal car park, including pretty much all of the floors and the pickup drop-off area underneath. One of the very important questions that I ask myself, certainly, and this will come out in the investigation in due course, is what happened? We know what happened. Why it happened? And what we can possibly do to prevent it happening again. Those are all questions we need to answer. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me once again. And as always, I appreciate the support. Andy the Gabby Cabby. Well, Luton Airport. Just to remind all of you what the scene was, if I pull up this thumbnail here for the actual video you're watching right now, that was what fire crews and what passengers were met with on the evening, a devastating fire which took hold. Now, we know from, evidence, and we know from footage and photographs which came out at the time that a Range Rover was involved. At the weekend with my live stream, I presented you evidence which was passed to me from another YouTuber, which detailed the fact that it was in fact a diesel, and there were several recall problems with this particular model of diesel, all of which could lead to fire. Now, one of the things that I'm very interested in is if you have a look at the picture of it from the rear, the original picture that came out, and the flames are licking off in one direction, there are some cars there. You can see the wheels of them just underneath the flames, and I had to wonder, is one of these an electric vehicle, and this Range Rover caught that alight, and obviously it acted as an accelerant and took the rest off, or did the Range Rover on its own do enough damage? Even with all the varying bits of evidence out there, there are still people which say it was in fact a hybrid, or it was in fact an electric vehicle, and it was in fact a big cover-up. And, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion on this. Certainly they are. I'm of the opinion that it was a normal everyday diesel Range Rover which had some kind of fault, and the fire wasn't helped by the presence of electric vehicles in the car park and quickly blew out of control. Because the temperatures involved to actually collapse a car park like that tells me lithium batteries had to be somewhere a factor in there for sure. I want to tell you about Jeff Buys Cars. He did a very good video summing up his feelings and findings on this situation, and I'll leave a link in the description to his channel so you can go and check out that video afterwards. Very informative. And one of the things that he actually came out and said was, do the industry want us to believe it was a diesel and it was in fact an electric all along? I know when you've got the likes of AI and fakery and all this sort of thing, it's possible. So go check that out. The other thing is, Black Belt Barrister did a great video from a legal point of view, because the millions of pounds worth of damage, not only to the structure, but also to all of the other cars. There was, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 cars parked there. Pretty much all of them, according to the news, will not be salvageable. All those write-offs, millions of pounds, whose responsibility is that? Is that the airports? Or do we go via you park your car at your own risk? And then in which case, is it the insurer of the owner of the Range Rover? I'd hate to see their next premium. Go and check out that video as well. And again, I'll leave a link in the description underneath. So, begs the question, what do we do? How do we prevent this happening again? Those of you that follow my channel regularly, a day or two ago, I took you for a walk around the Heathrow Airport Terminal 5 short stay car park and showed you some of the things there, including electric cars and internal combustion engine cars parked together closely, no sprinkler system, miles and miles and miles of parking spaces, a lot of open areas. That's one of the more modern car parks, a disaster waiting to happen, no doubt. And if you go and look at somewhere like Gatwick, the South Terminal, the car park there, they're packed in like sardines. It's a very much older car park, and I'd hate to see how that would cope with something in the level of Luton. Simple, it wouldn't. So what do? Well, a newspaper article came out, and one of the things was put more spaces or wider spaces in between the vehicles. And you can see here, car park spaces should become wider due to threat of electric car fires amid fears of flammable vapor cloud, explosions, jets of fire, and toxic water runoff, ministers are told. And, you know, there's a big load of a description there. Now, I get wider spaces, but flames, once something is on fire, it finds its way. It takes on a life of its own, and it will move. It will grab onto things. It will take hold of things. I've seen many a vehicle fire in my time on the roads, and I've seen what they do. And they can quickly become out of control. Is the wider space option the correct one? Or should you really segregate all the cars onto different floors? So you put electric on one, you put internal combustion on the other. Should you have dedicated spaces for electric vehicles with dedicated fire suppression systems above the spaces? Millions of pounds of investment, whichever way you look at it. Should you have an outdoor car park completely separate for electric vehicles to isolate them in the effect that there may be a fire? The same for diesel and petrol vehicles. Should you have the same thing? At the end of the day, that fire burned quickly and savagely, and they didn't have the time to get it under control quickly enough. It took so much water. Now, the funny thing is, there's already been interim guidance on all of this released back in July. I'll show you a copy of this now, and you can see. There we go. Covered car parks fire safety guidance for electric vehicles. There's the title right there. You can see, an electric vehicle there undercover. It's a 96-page document, so I'm obviously not going to go through it all for the benefit of this video. But if we scroll down just slightly, you can see the thing there. What's the guidance for? EV fire hazards, common fire safety features of covered car parks, reported safety issues, steps to determine relevant mitigation measures, hazard mitigation measures, discussion of mitigation measures. Very, very informative, very, very in-depth document on all of the factors which you're going to have to consider. Loads and loads and loads. So, as I said, 96 pages. I'm not going to sit here and read them all to you, but you get the idea. So, how do we stop this happening again? You tell me. Leave your comments below. And thank you very much for joining me again for another video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Smash that like button. Leave comments. Share the content. I'll see you soon with one more. Toodaloo.